Hey everyone, the new DSA candidate out in Colorado has some thoughts about the international order.
I think it's particularly important, not just for our community in Tigray, but communities of the global South, period, right? There's a certain reckoning that we are going to have with the global world order as it exists today, and the way that it fundamentally will have to shift going forward.
I'm Rich Lowry of National Review, and that's a woman named Maylot Keros, DSA candidate who won a congressional primary out there in Colorado just a couple weeks ago. Very notable race. Show that this is a phenomenon of DSA candidates sweeping to victory in these primaries. It's not just limited to New York City, seeing it out there in the Rocky Mountain West as well. And what's so interesting about this comment, and I'm going to show you more, is that it gets to how the DSA mindset, not just hostile to rich people, not just hostile to markets, hostile to the United States and its role in the world. And she has a very interesting and noxious take on how America can be taken down a notch. First, let's hear a little bit more from her.
Right, the responsibility that we have as Americans, the recognition that is going to be required of us, of the exploitative and extractive nature that we play on the global scale and the global stage.
This is so dumb and wrong-headed. Let's count the ways. First of all, U.S. colonialism at its height was nothing compared to the great European colonial empires. Yes, we occupied the Philippines for a period of time. Then we let it go and let it be a sovereign allied state. Lots of high-handed interventions in Latin America. Now, oftentimes we were invited by a faction to come in and try to help them. There's kind of misbegotten idealism very often in these U.S. interventions. We thought we could help these places govern themselves better, but it was high-handed, as I said, and commercial interest also played too big a role in U.S. foreign policy. But we basically gave this up fairly early on in the 20th century. And then there were times the CIA did stuff you wouldn't be proud of, and we supported authoritarian governments. But this was in the context of the Cold War, when you had global communism on the march and attempting to entrench tyrannical governments hostile to the United States and its interest around the world. You look at what we hold now, U.S. territories like Puerto Rico, Guam, America Samoa. Are these places that really feel as though they're repressed by U.S. power? No. And the idea that our wealth is somehow the product of exploitation or extraction is a crazy Marxist idea. Now, Trump sometimes talks in these terms, where we take people's oil and all the rest of it. None of that's good. But if you look at the sweep of U.S. history in the post-World War II era, why are we richer than everyone else? It's because we have an economic system that rewards economic effort, wealth creation, and innovation. The system, by the way, that she wants to destroy. And then you look at the aid we've provided the rest of the world: disaster assistance, economic aid, humanitarian assistance of other forms, food aid, trillions and trillions of dollars showered on the rest of the world out of our generosity. And then the important public goods we provide and guarantee: freedom of navigation of the seas, under challenge in some important places at the moment, obviously, but a hugely important public good, a mostly reliable and free trading system. Now, you got to put some asterisks there, thanks to Trump's trade policy, but this also is hugely important, tends to benefit everyone. And then our security guarantees to various countries around the world that's helped avoid a major conflict. We don't force anyone to be our allies around the world. They want to be our allies. This isn't the Athenian Empire at its height, where the Athenians were exacting tribute from other countries. Most of these relationships, we're giving our allies more than we're getting from them, right? That's one of Trump's critiques of the alliance system. But she wants to believe that we are a nefarious force in the world, such that the people arrayed against us are the good guys, or at least it's understandable why they might react against us or even attack us. This is the source of a notorious comment from her about September 11th.
Do you believe that the 9/11 terrorist attacks on America were the inevitable consequence of American foreign policy?
Inevitable in the sense that we destabilized a lot of the Middle East, that forced people to believe that another act of violence was the only response. And again, just like I said before, our responsibility is to getting rid of those conditions that lead to violence in the first place.
This is such a poisonous point of view and is organically connected to the rest of her philosophy. But destabilizing the Middle East, one, how would that possibly justify plowing jetliners into office towers in downtown Manhattan? Two, what is she talking about? At the time, we just won the first Gulf War, which involved pushing Saddam Hussein out of Kuwait after he invaded Kuwait. We supported Israel, which has a right to exist. And by the way, we're supporting a fairly robust peace process. And as this peace process was seeming as though it might succeed, bin Laden was still planning these attacks. We supported moderate Arab governments in the region and had an alliance with Saudi Arabia and bases in Saudi Arabia. Bin Laden objects to all or most of this on top of a deeper fundamental critique of the United States and its role in the world and the Middle East as supposedly this malign imperialistic power. And it's there where you get some overlap with the worldview of these DSA types who also consider us a malign influence internationally. So what does she want to do about this? Here it is.
Is only going to be challenged if we are getting represented by people who understand that on a fundamental level, right? And that means getting more immigrants into office. That means getting more people who have heritage in the global South into office, because that's where those decisions are made specifically.
So there you have it. She thinks to stop the U.S. exploitation of the global South, you need to import people from the global South to come here and then run for office and positions of responsibility within the United States. This is the complete opposite of what you should want from immigration. You want people who want to come here, who want to assimilate into the United States and love the United States and want to make it better. But this just goes to how ascendant third worldism is on the left today. This is the view that the third world, the so-called global South, is uniquely virtuous, has been put upon by the United States and other Western powers, and we need to realize our sinfulness and repent and reverse course. And she's saying that immigrant lawmakers can help make that process happen. This is really a parodic view of immigration, but it is one that animates people like her and others within the DSA, which is now the most important movement within the Democratic Party, and it is obsessed with making us weaker and with making us less. Hey, by the way, comment, like, subscribe. I promise you won't regret it. I'm Rich Lowry, over and out.